Howdy, y'all. Well, Tony the Guru has done a deal here on the computer build, so now I can go on here at like 720. I gotta look up here at the camera. Howdy. When I'm looking at the screen where I can see what's going on, it don't look like I'm looking in the camera. But I'm just saying howdy, what's happening, what's going on here. Just checking in today. It's Saturday, August the 12th, 2017. Some troll hater, I don't know, talking about filming people in the public and filming police and public officials, and somebody, I guess that needs attention, kept putting retard on there and harassing me and my viewers. I removed it 3 times. I had some phone calls from some people that it bothered them. It bothered me, but I just was going to just let it go. But they said, you got to stop the trolls. You got to stop the trolls. Or control the troll. Control the troll. So that's what I did. So that's what it is. So anyway, I eventually reported them to YouTube. So we'll just see what YouTube does with people that troll and harass. You know, the first time I left it on there, but people bothered them, so I took it off, like I say. Anyway, I believe in free speech. So even though yeah, I felt like that was a personal attack against me, and I didn't do nothing. If you don't agree with me, just say, hey, I don't agree with you, Chief, or I disagree, or I've got a different viewpoint, and here's my viewpoint. That's great. But when you say I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I'm retarded, I'm an idiot, that's personal, and I don't appreciate it, and I don't like it, and I'm probably always going to remove it, and I'm probably going to report it to YouTube. Now, if you go on there and you got some common decency, and you say, I don't like it, what you're saying, and that you got some opinion or factual basis why you don't use cuss words and nasty mudslinging at me. In other words, if you have hard, cold facts, or you have an opinion, I believe in that. You know, that's part of what my service was for almost 40 years to the public, was to guarantee that your rights were observed, that you had a right to your free speech. Okay, I thought burning the American flag was horrid, just horrid. You were burning the thing that basically was our semblance of freedom. Freedom to choose, freedom to preach, freedom to teach, freedom have small government, people that don't, you know, tell you this, that, and the other. You could just be a free man and just live alone. Just do your own thing. I protected that with my own life, okay? Let's put it this way. There were some racial groups of different races, and some of them wasn't necessarily opposed to any other race. They just happened to be for their own race. You don't have to be against another race to be for your race. If you're black, for example, and you say, I'm black and I'm proud and I love black people, right on, more power to you. If you're white, you say, I love people and I'm for white people, and right on. If you're brown people and you say, I love brown people, right on. You know, whatever color your skin is, I would say be proud of that. If you're an American, be proud of that. If you're Chinese or Guatemalan, Israeli, German, be proud of what you are. Now, I do think that once you're in America, if you're born in America, then you're American. Pretty simple. You're not German American. You're not Israeli American. You're not Canadian American. You're not Mexican American. You're not Indian American. You're not African American. You're just American. And if you want to say, I'm an American with ancestry from Canada, Africa, Yugoslavia, Costa Rica, wherever, I have, I'm a descendant of that nation, but I'm American. Hey, that's what the government's, part of what the government's job is to separate people. They're pitting sometimes a color, like as in white. They don't say European Americans, even though the supermajority come from Europe. White people come from all over the world. So if you said European Americans, then first you're putting Europe first and Americans second. You'd be an American European. Put America first. American European or American African. Okay, so it says I was born here, but my roots go back to wherever they come from. If you was going to hyphenate, but hyphenate causes separation. Okay, and we're not a melting pot like a lot of these news media say. Okay, wherever you come from, you represent that, and you don't meld into a multicolor, multinational, multi-whatever. You are whoever you are. And your traditions, your customs, your morals, your values, and your ethics remain what they are for your people. But our founders, which were not immigrants, like they try and teach, they were colonists. Okay, they were the king's people. They were colonists, nothing more, nothing less. But they said, we are now settlers. We're going to settle this land. We're branching out. We're going to control this land. We're going to settle it. Then they made all their declarations, like Declaration of Independence, and then they were converted from colonists to settlers. And they settled the nation. So they were settling the nation from the 1500s, late 1500s, through about 1776. Okay, so 15 to 16, 16 to 17, so 250 years. I ain't counting exact, but basically they were colonists that converted to settlers, and they remained settlers. Then they had a constitution. Now, after that point in time, then it became a new nation. And the new nation had now immigrants. So if your family was here before 1776, then they were a colonist and then a settler. They were not immigrants. When they say a nation of immigrants, no. So all the people that come from the people that was here till that time were settlers. Later on, immigrants come. And they basically had an open door to immigrants to help to continue to expand the nation and the economy and to build. Just a hard, cold fact. Now, from that day forward, there continued to be immigrants, and they at points in time put controls on it, especially trying to control people who's going to come here and try and start some new philosophy, some foreign morals, values, and ethics that's foreign to us, that didn't live like the founders and the settlers did. They said, this is our land, we've conquered it, we've settled it, and it's ours, so we're going to make the rules and the regulations, and we're going to establish our morals, values, and ethics. And they were pretty dang good at that. Now, there was a small section of very wealthy men, a tiny little portion of wealthy men that helped orchestrate and put certain laws into place. And these laws hurt everybody. Okay, slavery was still legal in a lot of different places, but it was also illegal. And only a small portion of people or businesses owned slaves, just a small portion. So when they talked about that, and in that small portion was black people and white people. Majority white, but some black that owned slaves. Okay? But I'm trying to think of how to explain this, okay? So it's only a small portion, and even a smaller portion were black slave owners. So blacks and whites both owned slaves. Okay, it's fact. You know, some people don't like to say it because it doesn't fit the narrative. It doesn't make everything sound the way that people were taught or trained, or it doesn't follow some people's belief system. Okay, I just try and tell it like it is and be honest about it. Okay, they used to call me the whitest chocolate man in town. I said, why do y'all say that? They say because you live more like us. I said, what do you mean us? Black folks, you live more like us. I said, well, I actually think I'm kind of like a chameleon, whatever it's called. I kind of adapt to my surroundings, okay? If I'm in Little Mexico, I have a tendency, I don't sit there and just plan it, but I have a tendency to start talking with a Mexican accent. It just comes on me. Okay? If I'm at a formal gathering, no matter what color, if I'm at a formal gathering of people, then I have a more formal attitude. If I'm out in the street talking to street people and they have a very relaxed atmosphere and they just let it flow and just say what's on their mind, but they're not nasty or anything, then I just kind of talk like that. If I'm around white folks, I kind of talk like white folks. If I'm around black folks, I talk like black folks. If I'm around brown, red, or yellow folks, I talk like them. It's just like I just kind of change to my surroundings. I'm not the only one that does this. I've seen other white people, black people, brown people, red people, yellow people. I guess they do it on purpose or it's involuntary. But I just have a knack for getting along with everybody. You know, if you're fat, skinny, an athlete, you're disabled, you're rich, you're poor, you're black, white, brown, red, or yellow, I really don't care. I try and tell the truth, and I try and listen to the truth, and I try and keep it straight. Now, I'm willing to have a debate with anybody in the United States, the geographic United States, as to left-wing, right-wing politics, religion, theologies, rights, wrongs, morals, values, ethics, because I base mine on fact, not fiction, not myth. And if I have believed something, even for 50 years I believed something, and you can reasonably, articulately take me to not scrubbed history, not some one person's belief, but we can go through multiple sources, multiple people, books, old newspapers that were written at the time it happened, and we can explore all that, and it turns out that you're right and I'm wrong. I come over here, I had a couple of bolts from an old computer case. I come over here and salute you. I'll apologize to you. I'll apologize to myself. I got it wrong. And I'll tell everybody in here, hey, Damon Chief Jones made a mistake. So I'm on here to correct my error. But I'd like you, if you go through the same stuff and you find out I'm right, I want you to come salute me, come on here and say, you was wrong and Damon Chief Jones was right. See, I'm a fair, open-minded guy. Now, like one guy told me, he said, If you're too open-minded, your brain will fall out. If you're too open-minded, you don't believe in nothing. You just don't believe in nothing. That's just the way it is. You just don't believe. Okay? On the other hand, if you believe, and say you do believe in something, usually when you get about 40 years of age, you pretty well have a made-up mind about stuff. And the older you get, the more made up it is, and the harder it is to convince you otherwise. Now, when you're in elementary school and you're learning, you can change your mind, you know, a dozen times a day. You know, in the morning you want to be a baker. You want to bake cookies and goods. In the afternoon you want to be a fireman. Tomorrow you want to be an attorney. The next day you want to be an electrician. One day you want to be a cop. One day you want to be a teacher. One day you want to work you want to be an astronaut. You know, one day you want to be homeless by choice, or live out in the woods, and that's your home. It ain't a traditional home, but it's a home. So I get to decide what's a home, not you. Not you, government, me. I get to decide what's a home. If I got two trees out there and I run a fishing line across from them, and I throw a blanket over and I get under it, and I say, hey, that's my shelter. That's my home. You don't get to decide for me. I don't get to decide for the next man. And nobody else gets to decide for me, and nobody else gets to decide for the next man. See, the government gives you clues, just like on the census. If I decide on the next census that I'm black, then guess what? I'm black. And if you're black and you decide you're white, then you're white. The government says you get to decide. They tell you on the IRC code, which that's a private system, that's not government. But anyway, they tell you that you get to assess how much so-called income you get. So you get to decide. So they say it's voluntary and it's your own assessment. So until there's assessment, there ain't nothing to do. Okay? But once you assess yourself, then you're supposed to pay. That's my understanding. Anyway, I ain't a tax lawyer or bar card lawyer, bar card judge, or none of that. Ain't no tax accountant, anything like that. I'm just telling you the way I understand it. But the point is, you get to decide how much income you have. You have to decide what income means. Okay? Because in all their books and all their statutes, I've been looking, I can't find it nowhere. And I know some attorneys and judges, and they can't find it nowhere. And Tom Cryer, he won his case in Shreveport, Louisiana, because and certain other people have won their cases over and over because there ain't a definition for income. There's things that allude to it might be this, might be that, but a maximum law says when the law is uncertain, there is no law at all. That's a maxim. Okay? It's like it's a supreme law into itself, almost. A maxim is a self-evident truth that nobody can argue with. It is the chiefest meaning. See, like we got a commander-in-chief. Okay? A lot of people got the chief from the Indians. Indians had a chief. Well, he was the commander. So if you was the top commander, then you was the commander-in-chief. Okay? That's a little legal wording, but people back then used a lot of the Latin phrases and different type of King's English. So he was the commander-in-chief. Okay? So commander was a word that the navies and things used to use. He was a Navy commander. Okay, and the only military they really had back then was navies. They did have foot soldiers, but the bulk of it was Navy fleets. So it's commander-in-chief. Okay, like the chief of the Indians. And that's why the Indians used to talk about the great white chief. Okay, they had a lot of red-skinned Indian chiefs, but he was the white chief, the great white chief, commander-in-chief. Anyway, I mainly would just come on here to say howdy howdy. And my mind started rolling. I'm testing out my Logitech. And my good buddy and friend down in Florida sent me this Logitech back about between 5 and 8 weeks ago. And then Bama Camera, he actually got it set up on the computer. But my new computer guy, or my old computer guy, we've been together about 12 years or something, 13 years, hanging out and doing things that I do on videos we used to talk about and so forth. But anyway, my point is, he's done some zippity zap on my tire, and he's worked on the upload and download speeds and done some tweaks that he knows how to do. So he's volunteered time, some money, and some parts to me, and there's still some more stuff I need to do. So still, you know, if you can help out, it's DAYMOND, Damond4040 at yahoo.com. That's my PayPal account. If you got $1, $5, $10, you can help me out so I can keep paying for my internet and for my memory cards and for my computer and different stuff. I appreciate it. If you just want to send an email to ask a question or to tell me something or whatever, which I probably got 15, maybe 20 people that, you know, are regular emailers that email pretty regular. And to my good buddy up in New York, or actually I think he's in New Jersey now, and he drives to New York. Anyway, I'll call him Mr. C. He knows who he is. He sent me a laptop so that when I'm out in my truck or out in the field somewhere and I need to make a video, if I'm away from one of my abodes, I can do that to keep my phone from burning up. I'm still going to make some videos on my phone too, but I'm going to try and limit it. So anyway, he helped me out, so thank you to you. And like I say, this Logitech camera, this webcam, this video of me, another guy gave that to me. My good buddy Tony, the Ohio Enforcer Guru guy, he also teaches constitutional firearms, safety, how to use firearms, how to self-defend yourself, all these things. He was a peace officer also up north in Ohio, and he still teaches people safety with firearms and how to protect yourself. And he's a strong believer in the Constitution of his state and of the United States, just like I am. Anyway, he's donated his time and his effort and come a long ways to help me at one of my abodes. You say one of them, well, yeah. I've actually got about 3 or 4 places that are my abode wherein I dwell. Just because it is safe and I have access to multiple shelters, and I'm not locked down to one. And but eventually, once I get my place built over in Northeast Texas and the church, then I will be in one location from that day forward. If that comes in a month, if that comes in 2 years, I don't know. But when it comes, that's where I'll be. Till then, I have 2 or 3 places. I'm from here to here to here and back again. And then I've been going out training people and working with militias, constitutional militias. I've worked with various Girl Societies, just like the Texian Girl Society. I've also worked with the North Carolina Study Group. I've worked with the Tri-State Militia. I've worked with the Southern State Militia, Tennessee Militia, Arkansas Militia, Louisiana Militia, Alabama, Georgia, Florida militias. Did I say Tennessee? Anyway, pretty much from the Midwest through the Southeast, North and South Carolina militias. I've talked on the phone to people. We've had text messages, emails, phone calls. Some is eye to eye for autonomy. Hypothetically, say the government decides I know a lot of stuff, and so they want to come pick me up and inquire of me. Well, I only know a certain amount of information, so I can't do harm to the other militia groups. And then they in turn meet with me and other militia groups that I do know about. They can't do no harm to us. So there's a lot of precautions in meeting and communications, and I work with other communications experts. And anyway, I'm getting off topic. I don't know what in the world I come on here for other than to say howdy, and I got on a spiel. So those of you that like these long videos, I'm at about 26 minutes. Hallelujah, Jesus. And those that have ADHD or other mental, emotional disabilities and can't take it this long, I'm sorry. Y'all watch it 5 minutes at a time, and then when you watch 5 more minutes, watch 5 more minutes, and eventually you get to the end and you'll hear me say, hallelujah, Jesus. Well, I'm alive and I'm well, and my family's well. My wife's still recuperating. I had gone on the Bank versus You Tampa TV internet interactive system yesterday, and let people know that my wife had been in the hospital for 4.5 days, and she had a major health issue. Praise the good Lord Jesus above. She's okay. She's back at home, but there are medical bills and medications and some treatments and miscellaneous, so we could use a few dollars there. You can help out with the PayPal, great. If you can't, okay, good too. I'm going to be here and I'm going to do what I do. If you give money, you do. If you help out some way, great. If you don't, well, I'm going to pray for you either way. I don't just pray for people that give me stuff, and I don't just pray for people that like me. I know some people that do not like me that I pray for very hard. One, I don't want to get a hard heart, because if I begin to hate somebody, I get a hard heart, and it'll be harder on me than it is on them, and then they actually got control of me. So I forgive people. Sometimes it don't come in the same day. Sometimes it takes lots of days or weeks to get there. But I eventually get there, and I pray very hard for them that God will help them. Not just to leave me alone, but just help them in their life. So I pray for everybody. My daddy used to tell me, hey, why don't we just pray for everybody? Let's don't pick and choose. We serve a big God. Let's just ask Him to bless everybody. Take His handcuffs off and let Him go. All right. Hey, I love y'all. Let's see. This camera's kind of like, I guess it's filming what's here, but it looks like it's backward to me some way or another. I don't know. Looks like it films backwards. Again, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it'll look different when it comes out, or maybe it'll look the same. The message is the same. I love y'all. God bless y'all. Pray for me and my family. Pray for my channel. Please subscribe. Please ask your friends to subscribe. If you can give money, give it. Give what you can. If that's $1, thank you. If it's $100, thank you. If it's $500, thank you. If it's $1 again, thank you. If you can't, thank you. Just pray for me and my family, and pray that somebody else can give $1. I love all the little gifts, the big gifts, and see, I'm a grateful man. My buddy that in Florida that gave the camera, I've made mention of that 2 or 3 times. The guy that gave me the laptop, I talked about that on the radio and talked to people, and I'm putting it out here. Shoot, I want to thank. Oh, and then there was another man that bought me a book, The Excellence of the Common Law by Brent Winters. He's an excellent man, and I wanted his book, and that was $67. Somebody bought that book and sent that to me. And another guy bought a book and sent it to me also. I can't think of the name of that right this second. Anyway, I'm saying this here. A lot of people have bought things and sent them to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And if I forgot to mention somebody, please forgive me. Now, this book I bought my own self, and I'm studying it. But I think some people out there would love it if you're into finances. You know, you're into like foreclosures. You're into the Federal Reserve System, the money system. This is called The Debt Virus. Let's see. Where'd that book go? Let me see. Let me see. The Debt Virus. It's by Dr. Cochran. He's MD. Debt Virus, a compelling solution to the world debt problem. It came out in '92, but it was true then. It's still true now. The book was hard to find. It's really hard to find. You know, for some time it was hard to find, but I got it, and I know some other people that got it, and it's a good book. But anyway, I know Dr. Jock, and he's an excellent man, very knowledgeable, and he had his first copies and stuff, but he didn't have any supplemental copies, or he would have gave me one and some more people. But anyway, that's a good book to get, and they're anywhere from about $8 or $10 up to $60 in most cases. Some people had a first original print that made it more valuable, and I think they were like $200 to $600 a piece, an ungodly amount. But anyway, it's a good book to read if you're into that. I try and tell people about books or radios or TV shows that I come across that I think will be very helpful, just because I am who I am. Well, I'm at 33 minutes. Oh my God, I gotta stop. God bless you all. Have a great day.